Hello, I'm Carl Honoré, author of In Praise of Slow. Here is the Slovenian edition. But today I'm going to read an excerpt from In Praise of Slow, the original English edition. It comes from the chapter on food and describes an epic slow food meal I had in Italy a few years ago. A meal I have never forgotten. Here's how it went. I set off in pursuit of the perfect slow food meal. My quest takes me to Borgo Varese, a bustling resort town just along the coast from Genoa. It's high summer and the streets leading to the beach are thronged with Italian holidaymakers, padding in and out of the bars and gelaterie in flip-flops. I pick my way through the crowds and walk up the hill to the narrow, cobbled streets of the Old Quarter. My destination is Da Casetta, a family-run restaurant singled out for special praise by the Slow Food Guide. I arrive at opening time, 8 p.m., to confirm my booking for later in the evening. Already the first customers of the night, a young couple, are at the door. Cinzia Morelli, a member of the family, gently turns them away. "I'm sorry, but we're still preparing the antipasti," she says. "You could have a drink, or maybe go for a walk outside until we're ready." The couple take the delay in stride and stroll off into the Old Quarter with indulgent smiles that seem to say, "We know the meal will be worth the wait." An hour and a half later, I return for my own dinner, full of great expectations and an even greater appetite. The antipasti are ready now, arrayed like a flotilla of ships on a side table in the dining room. Cinzia steers me towards the wooden deck outside, where the tables look onto a scene straight from an Italian holiday brochure. Da Casetta nestles at the bottom of a sloping, tree-lined piazza. To one side, an 18th century church rises above the red-tiled rooftops, its bells tolling lazily every half hour. Down in the cobbled square, nuns dressed in white huddle in small groups, whispering like schoolgirls. Couples canoodle in the shadows. Children's laughter spills from the balconies overhead. My dining companion drifts into Da Casetta 25 minutes late. Vittorio Magnoni is a 27-year-old textile merchant and a member of the slow food movement. It's nearly 10 p.m. and he's in no hurry to order. Instead, he settles into the chair opposite mine, lights a cigarette, and launches into a report of his recent holiday in Sicily. He tells me how the local fishermen catch tuna by stringing a single net between ships. Then he describes the various ways the fish is served up at the dinner table on shore, sliced into thin carpaccio, grilled with lemon, bobbing in a hearty soup. His descriptions are so mouth-watering that we're both relieved to see the waiter arrive. His name is Pierpaolo Morelli, and he looks like John McEnroe without the receding hairline. Pierpaolo explains how Da Casetta embodies the slow food ethos. Most flowers, vegetables, and fruits on the menu come from the family garden. The dishes are all traditional Ligurian, assembled by hand, slowly and with passione. No one pops in for a quick bite on the fly. "This is the opposite of fast food," declares Pierpaolo. Even as he speaks, I notice the couple who arrived too early for the antipasti sitting a few tables away. The man is popping what looks like a shrimp into the woman's mouth. She eats it slowly, teasingly, and then places her hand on his cheek. After ordering the food, we mull over the wine list. Pierpaolo returns to help us out. Muttering the names of our chosen dishes under his breath, he strokes his chin and looks up at the night sky for inspiration. After what seems an eternity, he finally delivers his verdict. "I have the perfect wine for your meal. A local Ligurian wine," he says. "It's Pigato, with a little Vermentino mixed in. I know the man who makes it." The wine comes swiftly and is exquisite, fresh and light. Then a plate of mixed antipasti arrives. It's a delightful medley: a tiny pizza, a sliver of asparagus tort, zucchini stuffed with egg, mortadella, parmesan, potato, and parsley. Arranged in a small pile in the center of the plate are the jewels in the crown. Baby onions, or cipolline, roasted with vinegar. They are ambrosia, firm and yielding, sweet and tangy. My father picked them in the garden this morning, says Pierpaolo, en route to another table. Despite our hunger, we eat slowly, savoring every mouthful. All around us, wine flows, aromas waft, laughter dances on the cool evening air. A dozen conversations blur into a low, sweet, symphonic hum. Vittorio shares the Italian passion for food and loves to cook. His specialty is pappardelle with prawns. While we eat, he talks me through its preparation, step by step. Detail is everything. For the tomatoes, you must use the small ones from Sicily, he says, and you cut them in half, no more. His other signature dish is spaghetti with clams. You should always strain the juice that comes from cooking the clams, to remove all the little hard bits, he says, wielding an imaginary sieve. As we wipe the antipasti plates clean with crusty homemade bread, we compare risotto recipes. Now it's time for the primo piatto. Mine is testaroli with porcini mushrooms. Testaroli is a flat pasta cooked once, chilled, sliced, and then cooked again. Somehow it manages to be al dente and pleasingly squishy at the same time. The mushrooms, gathered locally, are earthy but light. The combination is sublime. Vittorio has chosen a different Ligurian specialty, lumache alla berezzina, snails in a nutty sauce. Another triumph. Our conversation drifts away from food. Vittorio explains how northern Italians are more modern-minded than their southern cousins. When I go to Naples, they can tell just by looking at me that I'm from the north, he says. We talk about that other great Italian passion, calcio, or soccer. Vittorio reckons his favorite team, Juventus, still has what it takes to win European glory, despite having sold Zinedine Zidane, the midfield maestro that many regard as the world's best player. Then things get personal. Vittorio reveals that, like many Italian men, he still lives with mamma. Life is very comfortable in an Italian family. You get your meals cooked, your clothes washed, he says, smiling. But I have a fiancée now, so eventually I will move in with her. Delighted with his snails, Vittorio starts singing the praises of slow food. He especially enjoys getting together with fellow members for meals that go on for hours. Vittorio sums up the slow food take on the modern world. McDonald's is not genuine food. It fills you up without sustaining you, he says. I think people are tired of eating things that have no taste, no history, no link with the land. They want something better. As if on cue, Pierpaolo appears at my elbow with the main course, capon magro, a slow food delicacy if ever there was one. The dish consists of layers of mixed seafood, salsa verde, potato, and smoked tuna. With all the boning and deshelling, cleaning and chopping, it takes 4 people 3 hours to make a dozen servings of real capon magro. It is worth every minute though. The dish is an opera d'arte, a work of art, the perfect marriage of sea and land. We're halfway through this masterpiece when Vittorio drops a bombshell. I have to tell you something, he says, a little sheepishly. I sometimes eat at McDonald's. A stunned silence descends. A man at a nearby table, until now enthralled to his roast rabbit, looks up as though Vittorio has just broken wind. You what? I say. But isn't that heresy? Like a rabbi eating a ham sandwich? Loosened up by the wine and emboldened by his own candor, Vittorio tries to explain his apostasy. In Italy, there are very few options for those times when you want to eat fast. You either sit down in a restaurant for a meal, or you eat a slice of pizza, or you have a sandwich in a dirty bar, he says. You can say a lot of things against McDonald's, but at least it's clean. He pauses for a sip of wine. The man with the roast rabbit is listening intently now, his eyebrows crinkled like those of a cartoon character. I always feel a bit guilty after eating somewhere like McDonald's, says Vittorio. But I think other slow food members eat there too. They just keep quiet about it. With that dirty little secret hanging in the air, we polish off the capon magro. It's now time for dessert. Pierpaolo? Pierpaolo? Ah, there he is, cleaning up a broken glass underneath a neighboring table. He glides over to talk us through the dolce. A few minutes later, the desserts arrive. A chocolate torte with a dollop of mascarpone and zabaione cream. Apple sorbet, strawberry bavaroise. All are exquisite, especially when paired with a local Malvasia wine, which is sweet, smooth, and the color of maple syrup. Delicious, purrs Vittorio. Oscar Wilde was right about the power of a good dinner to make one forgive anything. As we slide into post-prandial nirvana, that glorious state when the appetite is calmed and all is right with the world. Vittorio's McDonald's confession already seems like a distant memory. We drink strong espressos in companionable silence. Pierpaolo brings a bottle of grappa and 2 small glasses. After some more sipping and chatting, we're the only customers left in Da Casetta. The rest of the Morelli clan come out of the kitchen onto the deck for some fresh air. The mood is mellow and magnanimous. I look at my watch. It's 1:25 a.m. I've spent 4 hours at the table without ever once feeling bored or restless. Time has floated by imperceptibly, like water in a Venetian canal. Perhaps because of that, the meal has turned out to be one of the most memorable of my life. As I write these words, more than a year later, I can still recall the bittersweet smell of the cipolline, the delicate sea notes of the capon magro, the sound of leaves ruffling in the darkened piazza. And I tell you, more years later, I can still remember all of those sensations. Thanks very much for listening. Take care.